So I'm out here again with Brian planting some corn. And this is some acreage that we have in the Blair area. But if we spin around here, you can see over the other side of that hill some of our beautiful hay ground that we have. Now this hay was hay that everyone just fell in love with last year, so much so that I didn't get any for myself. We sell customer choice first, and this was some really popular, beautiful, soft grass, pure grass. It's about 6 to 7 acres, I'd say, of that grass. Last year we got 2 cuttings off of it with the wet, rainy season, but hopefully we'd be able to get 3 cuttings off of this. Last year we made both large squares and small squares off of this field, and it all went super fast. And I am really hoping that we get 3 cuttings off of it this year so that I can have some for my own horses too. Pretty tight fit here. Some of these fields that we run, they are way back in no man's land. Once we get into this field, which he'll plant corn over there, but look at how it opens up into this beautiful hay ground that we have. So I'll just get right on the ground here to give you guys a closer look at this hay. This is some established hay ground that we have. It's about 15 acres, this field is, and we planted this last year as a new seeding. So this year it should come back stronger than it was before, because new seedings the first year, first cutting, sometimes it can be a little weedy, and then it can also be a little thin, just because that new seedings, they're competing with everything else in the field wanting to grow. So we'll be looking at a nicer cut of this particular field this year, and this is about 15 acres of a pure grass. And I'll give you an even closer look here down into the mix here. So if depending on what blade you're looking at, I'd say it's about 4 to 6 inches right now. We'll be looking to cut this when we're done with planting. We do have to finish all of our corn and bean planting before we start on hay, but after that we'll get rolling on hay, and it's looking great, so it'll come right along. So just to give you some perspective here, there's Brian planting some corn, and then I'm kind of standing in the middle here, and this direction is all hay there, and then I'll spin around again, and more hay acreage. So 2 years ago we had probably around 20 acres of hay. Last year we doubled that, increased it to approximately 40 acres of hay, and this year we increased it again, looking at closer to 80 acres of hay. So we are increasing what we have to offer for hay, and we're trying to, get some hay out there. I do realize that there's a shortage, so for us it's a good opportunity. It's also a good opportunity to help folks out that need the hay, and it's certainly doing better than the corn and bean commodities, which are the other crops that we grow, because right now as we're planting the corn and beans, what we're putting in the ground is actually more expensive than the price that the market is offering right now. We do hope that turns around, but obviously we are going to try our best to be profitable with some of this hay acres that we are putting in. So yeah, so look behind me, isn't that a big, beautiful hay field? And we do get a lot of questions too, like what is the deal with the hay shortage that was going on last year and we'll probably see headed into this year too. For us personally, we had increased our acres from about 20 acres the year before to 40 acres last year, but even with that increase, we were only able to get 2 cuttings off of the fields, 3 cuttings off of one field, but it was just so wet and rainy that we were not able to get enough days in a row in order to cut and dry that hay. So where a lot of farms would normally have 3 cuttings, they only had 2 cuttings. The other issues that we had was wildfires in California, so a lot of hay went out that direction, And then also we did have flooding here in like southern Wisconsin, so a lot of the hay ground and hay acres did get flooded out. So we had people looking for hay that normally wouldn't be asking for hay, you know, from up in northern Wisconsin. So that just affected everyone. And I do see somewhat of a, you know, strong market, I'll say, going into this year because we had all the flooding, Nebraska and some other states, and then coupled with that, everyone utilized all their hay. No one has any stored up, so everyone is going to be gobbling up first crop right away. So we'll probably still see that pressure on the market heading in, at least in the beginning of this season.